A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
Butterball knows Thanksgiving can bring so much joy, but also so many cooking questions. What size turkey? What's the best way to roast? How do I carve it? Don't panic. Butterball is here to help. Just give us a ring at the Butterball Turkey Talk line. We'll help with what's on the table so you can focus on those around it. Call 1-800-BUTTERBALL or text 844-877-3456 to reach our turkey experts. Butterball. Today, we turkey.
Ask me, ask Iliza anything. It's time to ask. Ask me all your questions. Leave them in the Instagram comment section. Leave them on your Twitter or leave them on your Facebook. We'll see them, we'll read them, then we'll give you answers. You know it, I've got it. I've got the answer, you ask me. I'll tell you anything. If there's one thing I take away from my life with my father and my childhood is that my dad is messing with you 99% of the time.
Correct.
To the detriment of a lesson or a moral, and that is, as a comic, a huge lesson I gleaned. It's that almost everything's for your entertainment. When I was a little girl, I'll never forget this. This is when you and Mom were married. I'll never forget that my parents were married. No. She went across the street for something, and it was me and you and my brother Ben, and you started bird chirping at me. Like a bird. Like, can you do it? Like that. And I remember saying, stop. And I was like, and then you would do like a sympathetic one. And I was like 6 years old, and you wouldn't talk to me. You just kept bird chirping at me. To the point that I think I started crying because I was so freaked out that, like, that was what my dad was now. And you did not let up.
And that Hanukkah, if you remember, I bought you a cage.
He had some plans. That is the voice of Fred Shlesinger.
And newspaper, a lot of newspaper.
My father. I also have a very specific memory. Every family. One thing you should know about the Schlesingers, as fractured of a family, because my parents are divorced, so my dad and stepmom have been married for 20-something years. I have a full-blooded wolf brother, and then I have a half-brother and a half-sister. So, there are no loyalties in the Schlesinger family. There are no teams. It's you making fun of my brother, and then it gets turned on you.
Right, you're on your own.
No one is safe.
Everybody's an island.
Everybody's an island. There are no allegiances. You are on the chopping block to be ripped apart and made fun of.
But you didn't mention the eyebrows of your stepbrother.
Brad?
Yeah. He's got amazing eyebrows.
I've only met him like 3 times.
Okay.
I've never had to.
But you've seen his eyebrows all 3 times.
They're thick.
They're thick.
Swarthy.
It's like a caterpillar in heat. It's just amazing.
When we were little, I remember this was when Blockbuster was around, and you go with your parents on the weekends, and my dad and I decided to tell my brother. He'd be like, what movie were you going to rent? Because my brother's 2 years younger than me and forever my punching bag. And my dad would say, we're renting Barnstorm. It was a fake movie franchise that my brother...
But actually, they came out with 3 sequels.
There's Barnstorm 2.
There's Barnstorm 2. There's the Barnstorm, the Requiem.
Uh-huh. And Barnstorm
and
3.
The final call. Barnstorm, the Final Call, which was the 4th one that was made back in 2002.
And then they made a prequel.
They did make a prequel, which was Barnstorm.
The Dissonant.
The Beginning of the End.
The beginning.
It was the prequel from a sequel
So it's this
to
fake
a triquel.
movie franchise, and whenever we go to Blockbuster, my dad would be like, we're getting Barnstorm, Ben. And my brother would freak out. I don't want to watch Barnstorm. Ben never caught on to the fact that we never watched Barnstorm.
But yet Kevin Costner still gets residual checks. It's an amazing thing.
So people have written in questions. We kept you around for 2 episodes.
Way too many questions.
It's an embarrassment of questions.
I know. It's 326 questions, and we only have a short period of time left, but we're going to try to get to as many of them as we can because we love you.
But wait, before we do it, do you want to take a sick bong rip with me, Dad?
Ooh. Is our show brought to them by?
No, that's not brought to them.
Okay.
Could you even hear that in the headphones? My sick bong rip from the water? No.
But I'll turn it up really loud.
Okay, I'll do it again.
More like a gurgling brook.
Billabong song. Hey, Fred. Fred, what's your party goblin like?
So it's interesting. A great question.
Yeah.
And my parallel party goblin to Iliza's is very, very withdrawn, quiet, shy, and reserved. And when I get my party goblin on, I become a fucking wallflower.
Really?
Yes, because...
I've never really seen you drunk.
Yes, exactly.
My parents aren't. That's not a thing in our family.
But your uncle was quite the lush.
Was he?
I don't know. Okay. So your party goblin is like the alter ego of who you are. I see that. And that's my alter ego. I get very withdrawn when I drink too much, which is rare. I rarely am out of control.
I've never
drunk,
seen that.
puking on the flocked wallpaper. I mean, very rare. That's the way I get. So it's not exciting, but it's the truth.
That's it?
It's plenty.
Iliza likes Maxwell, that ends well. With an
pathetic pun, Maxwell, that ends well.
No, but the biggest issue I have is that there's an underscore at the end, just to make it totally unsearchable
and unawkward.
Iliza likes dirty vodka on the rocks. What about Dad?
Ooh,
tasty. I know the
Should we talk
answer.
about mine?
Sopa Tuscan.
What did I have for lunch?
Oh, and you know what? I like this too.
The vodka.
It's a very specific drink. And you did this once, and I was like, that is the way. Okay, so a Greyhound.
It's not just a Greyhound.
Why don't you tell the people?
So
Enlighten them.
What I order is what is called a Bavarian Greyhound.
That's not a thing. You made it up.
But somebody has to start with something. Everything starts somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm on a one-man crusade.
Yeah.
I'm actually on the Bavarian Greyhound Council of America.
It's a triumvirate.
It is.
All right, so tell them.
So it is crushed ice, very important, in a tall glass, very important, with fresh squeezed grapefruit juice, not Tropicana, not Minute Maid. It's got to be fresh squeezed, poured over the crushed ice, and then topped off with a delicious, fresh sprig of rosemary.
It's so complicated.
But refreshing.
Our waiter was terrified.
Right. He went and looked for a man.
But that's your MO.
No, but he...
Is to strike fear into the heart of the waiter.
But he went 2 for 2. He delivered both brilliantly.
Yeah. That's how you got to do it. It's got to be fresh squeezed. The amount of times like it's fresh, because at one point it was fresh, but it's not. And I think this is one of the greatest passions of your life is ordering food, restaurants in general.
Yes, I would say one of my passions in life is making things difficult for everybody in my life.
I don't think I've ever heard a truer statement.
As difficult as possible.
I have a vivid memory of one time you were like pushing my arm or something, pushing my own arm into my own way. And I go, stop. And you go, why would you make it more difficult for me to make it difficult for you?
Because I wanted you to start a fight with yourself.
I do this to my husband all the time.
See that?
And I told him, like, I'll just hold the back of his shirt. I'll just put I'll put my hand where his is. And he just looks at me. I'm like, I'm just here to bother you. You signed up for. I'm just here to make life. Just so you knew how good you had it before me.
It's my bumper sticker. It's the only reason I'm playing. When we walk, what do I do with my hand? What do I do here?
It's just you cup various
Your
parts.
elbow.
Your elbow, just to force your own elbow out in front of you.
So some people hold hands. Some people lock arm in arm. I take my hand. I cup it in a cupping form, and I'll caress one's elbow if I'm walking with them. And I think it's delightful.
I don't think you do it to men, though.
What?
You don't do it to, like, Phil.
Not lately. I used to, and
you've had a falling out.
And now that I've done 3 to 5 years in Attica, I'm okay.
Fall has fallen. Winter is on its way. The days are shorter.
but just because, well, they feel shorter. And just because the days feel shorter doesn't mean your to-do list gets any shorter. You still have to power through your busy days. And a great way to do that is with nutritious food from Factor's no prep, no mess meals. At the end of a short day in the fall or the winter, the last thing you want to do is have to cook. Factor has got you covered from breakfast, snacks, dinner, anything in between. Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled, like their chicken Florentine with spinach and garlic chili cauliflower. You bet. That's what I want to make myself at the end of a day where I am exhausted and my husband isn't home. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add on, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. And because Factor meals are chef prepared and dietitian approved, you're going to love not only Factor's meals taste, but also how they support your goals, even if your goal was just making yourself dinner. Head to factormeals.com/Iliza50 and use code Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code Iliza50 at factormeals.com/Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
The holidays are here. And for a lot of us, the holidays mean decorating, hosting, celebrating. For me, it means a lot of traveling, and nothing feels better year-round, but especially during the cozy holidays, than a restful night's sleep in soft, luxurious sheets. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made with the finest 100% organic cotton, and they get softer with every single wash. You already know that I got Boll & Branch this summer when I needed breathable sheets to sleep in, but this holiday season, I'm actually gifting some of my friends and family Boll & Branch's Ultimate Softness Bundle. I get to choose a signature hem sheet set in any color, a signature hem pillow set, and a waffle bed blanket. And they're all getting juniper because I think it's a classy color. This way you know you have something nice to sleep on when you visit. It's the perfect gift for you and them. Gift you and your loved ones a better night's sleep with Boll & Branch. And right now is their best offer of the entire year. For 25% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets, head to bollandbranch.com/Iliza. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/Iliza for 25% off. Limited time only, exclusions apply. See site for details. So finally, fall is here. I have been looking forward to it. I have had a hard year in a good way. You know, like I had a baby. I have been on a nonstop tour, nonstop traveling, and it's been hot. So I'm looking forward to, of course, pumpkin spice, everything, cooler weather, and slipping into a cozy sweater from Quince. I've talked about Quince before. Quince has beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more. All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Dressing expensive doesn't have to be expensive. Their clothing is beautiful, it's durable, it stands the test of time, and it's what I like to call a capsule wardrobe. I got an Italian wool cocoon coat. That's one of those, you know, it's got like a European collar and it covers my butt so I can walk around New York City and not be chilly. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/Iliza for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Iliza to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Iliza.
Abigail, oh, jeez. Abigail.
Abigail?
No, I messed up. It's Abigail. It's a normal name.
Sorry, Abigail.
Abigail.tut.
She only has 4 years of college.
In your experience with eating out, what garnish is the most useless? Personally, I hate when I'm at an Italian place and there are herbs all over the plate. Like, I want my pasta, not lawn clippings.
So I love that, by the way, Abigail or Abigail.
Abigail.
Or the Begales. The Begales of Newark, New Jersey.
I was just thinking that.
I agree 1,000% with you. That chopped up shitty parsley, I think you're referring to
parsley,
has absolutely
Just playing this weekend at the Roxy.
no value on any plate, much less an Italian plate of food. So I concur with you. There's no taste to it. There is color. I'll give you color, but we can achieve that green color with other tasteful herbs and spices.
So now that we're on the subject of food, and I want to introduce you.
Glorious food.
A worldly man, but I don't think. Do you know what ASMR is, Dad?
You know what? Of all the questions, I felt like a complete asshole. I did not know what ASMR. I'm going ASMR.
Yeah, is it?
ASMR.
Okay, so ASMR. It's
Do I
kind
have
of
asthma?
It's autonomous sensory meridian response, and it's basically, some people have this, some don't, where when you hear noises and they're small, subtle, Can you hear this, Scott? Because I feel like this is a garbage mic. Small, subtle, little things. Some people get this sensation. So somebody wants to know your opinion on food ASMR. So these are people who tune into things just to hear people eat. And I don't have ASMR, but there is this Asian, it's a Korean.
Is this an LA thing?
No, this is a very Asian thing. It's called mukbang.
Ah.
I'm going to play you. It sounds like porn.
Doesn't he play for the Dodgers?
What is your feeling when I play this for you? Ready? So it's always an underage looking girl or a dude.
Do you know the first thing that comes to mind?
Wait. Stop talking.
I'm not supposed to look.
You can. What does it sound like to you?
It sounds like a big fat guy chewing a big wad of bubble gum.
But it's a tiny Asian girl.
But it's a tiny Asian
eating
girl
a rice noodle.
eating a rice noodle.
Does it do anything for you?
It's disgusting.
Is it?
It reminds me of human fluid.
Listen to this one. Look at the face he's making.
It sounds like the opening of Barnstorm.
Crunchy.
It sounds like the opening of Barnstorm.
There you go.
The swallowing.
Or the finale, or the fourth, the quadruple.
I'm just going to do one more.
That's terrible. Can we move on? It's a gurgling brook, goddammit. Next question.
Korean woman eating
Who
noodles.
asked that question?
Because I like it.
No, who asked it?
Meadow.Leanne.
You're
What's
fired.
your opinion?
You're fired.
She asks.
Not interested.
You're not interested?
No, not in that. Come on, let's move on to more important things.
All right, fine.
What is it?
ASMR.
Yes, AMSR.
All right, here's a serious one.
I'll be sure to forget that.
Alex K. 2. You don't even want, I find it very soothing
What
and
do you?
fun.
No, the crunchy is soothing.
I love how uncomfortable it makes other
Okay,
people.
here it is. That's like somebody walking through a rainstorm in galoshes. What the fuck is that? Let's move on. We have so many more important questions to it.
Alex K. 2.0.
I like that.
I would love to hear your father-daughter opinion on this. I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years.
Here we go.
We met freshman year in college and have been together ever since. We live together now. We've talked about marriage, and I know it will happen someday, but he wants me to wait until he feels more secure with his career.
Like a lesson dream.
How long is
This is so mushy sounding.
how long is too long to wait for a proposal?
It's like a bad Hallmark.
I'm in the middle of a question.
Yeah, but it's like a bad Hallmark movie. It's like, my boyfriend and I, Todd, we've been together.
She has a question.
So what's the question?
I'm asking you, but you're singing.
Sorry.
We don't have the rights.
It's like Evergreen.
How long is it too long to wait for a proposal? Don't you think at this point we should know for sure and just pull the trigger? P.S. Can't wait to see you in Chicago. Me too, Alex.
Alex, you should be able to answer your own question. In some relationships, a year is too long. 4 years is too long. 8 years is too long. If you don't know...
He wants to wait till he feels more secure in his
Alex
career.
is a guy?
No, she's saying the boyfriend.
Right. She's saying, it's enough already. When is this fucking loser going to propose to me?
He's saying he wants to feel more secure in his
Stop
career.
it. No.
Stop it.
No, love is not a bank balance. If you love somebody, you'll make it work out. There's so many relationships that start out and they struggle, but part of the struggle is what brings them together. Marriage is what brings us together.
I don't.
And so, Alex, you gotta hold this guy's feet to the fire and say, if you love me, bring it, and we'll get through it together. If you don't love me, stop procrastinating and stop getting free. I don't want to say it.
Free what? Say it. Say it.
What's
Say it.
What's the boyfriend's name?
Todd.
Todd, if you love me, marry me, bring it, I'm yours. If you don't, stop with this procrastination because I'm sick and tired of giving up free pussy.
Oh, his name
Ding,
wasn't
ding, ding,
Todd.
ding.
I don't know the guy's name.
Sorry.
Question for both of you. Iliza, you mentioned in Girl Logic that your dad had an absolute kick-ass and take names work ethic, which resulted in being gone. I think you mentioned that you were on opposite coast for a while. How has his work ethic rubbed off on you and vice versa in your relationship? And how has your relationship grown now that you're a working adult? I think before you can build, sometimes you got to knock everything down. And I had a very specific memory because my dad and I weren't that close probably when I got out of college for a couple years. And I remember you came to visit me in LA. And we had one of several, but this one was just you and I, not a family thing. Knockdown, drag out.
You know how I term it? We had a family exorcism.
That was a different one, though.
Okay.
But this was just you and I remember screaming at you. And I never really had a fight with my dad. Like, I think a lot of people think because I'm a comic and I'm tough or whatever that I was like a troublemaker growing up or anything like that. But I wasn't. It was just a normal suburban childhood.
Like cattails under a rocking chair, stuff like that.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
But you and
You were a good kid. You were a good kid.
I was a good kid.
The
Thank
few
you.
times we saw each other, you were a good kid.
Good kid.
Yes.
But we had like a knockdown, drag out fight because you can't just say, oh, we're related, therefore. You know, you've got to, and you have to feel heard.
And I really felt that weekend, and you remember I reached for the phone to rebook my
leave.
flight. I was
that
going to leave.
We were on La Brea.
And you said you're not fucking leaving. We're gonna battle through this. And I felt at that point in time that we were either going to get closer together or I would never see you again.
Through no fault of my own.
It was mostly your fault.
No,
No, it wasn't.
it wasn't. But that's it. I think as a kid, you absorb more than you think from your parents. And even though I wasn't around my dad, and my mom is a really hard worker too, but I'm on the road a lot. And I remember one of the first interviews I ever read that somebody gave to my dad was about him being on the road. And we both just in the way we see things, there's a very we're both very results oriented. And it's like, does this serve my purpose? No, get out of the way. I got to get up for work. We're not, I mean, I love to sleep, but my dad's up at 2 a.m. every morning.
I have a milk route.
It's just, you came to play, you know.
One of my philosophies, I have many, one of my philosophies is I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
I have no patience, no time to sleep. I require very little sleep. A lot of
require
people
so much sleep.
A lot of people require
Some
a lot
people
of sleep.
do.
But
People love to brag. I only need 4 hours of sleep. I need 12 hours of sleep a night. I should be sleeping right now.
ask yourself, listeners, do you bolt out of bed in the morning or do you hit that snooze alarm several times?
I do both. Is that fair?
You can't do
I
both.
hit it because sometimes I just need 5 more minutes to finish the dream because he was about to take his shirt off.
Or they were about to take their shirt.
Something was going to happen.
Something was going to happen very exciting. Next question.
A.JPEG. What's the biggest lie you told Iliza growing up? Something like you eat a seed and a watermelon grows in your belly. Do you have any recollection of anything like this? There was the Barnstorm. I don't. A lot
That's
of your
not a
questions.
lie,
No, it's not a lie.
I mean, the word lie is a very strong
But there's
word.
dad lies, oh, your Nana lives in a fairy castle. I'm trying to think.
That's a stumper. I don't really remember blatantly lying to you about something.
Oh, I remember. It's not a lie because lie sounds malicious.
It's terrible.
That's that Stevie Wonder song. Isn't she lovely? You would sing it. I was really little. And you would always say, isn't she lovely, Iliza?
Yeah.
V. I
That's
went
not a
most of my
lie.
life thinking that my name was in
So
the
that's
song.
a beautiful
It's not
thing.
a lie.
That's a moment. That's a fatherly
yeah,
moment.
it's not. We don't have that
Not a
kind of.
lie.
It's not kind of like that.
Oh, you know what? Write that into the question about how we came up with your name.
Okay, I'll just
Aren't
ask
you
that
gonna ask
question.
that?
I have a lot
Well,
of
it's
them.
a good.
This
It's
is
a
what
good
happens
segue.
when you let the guest
It's like
preview the
Barnstorm
question.
2 to 3. It's good.
People want to know,
People are interested.
where did you
That's
get the
what's
name
important.
Iliza?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So your mom and I were watching the iconic movie My Fair Lady. And the lead character is Eliza Doolittle. Now, Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady is spelled differently. But we needed an I. In the Jewish religion, you name your babies, unborn babies, after deceased family members. And Jews don't name after living family members like the Gentiles name, William Johnson III. We don't do that. Nothing wrong, nothing right. It's just tradition. So we needed an I for your mother's grandmother's name was Isabel. I believe that's correct. And so we needed an I, and then it just hit us. It was like a bolt out of the sky where we would name you Iliza after Eliza Doolittle, but using an I. And then we were thinking you were going to be born on Valentine's Day. So your middle name, we were going to use the letter V. Well, we learned in the state of New York, which is where you were born, I think it was another question, that you can't use an initial for a middle name. You can't. So your mother, who was relatively proficient in the language of French, said, oh, I have the perfect one. Iliza, V-I-E, which means life in French, Iliza V. Shlesinger. And 36 years later, here you are.
Here I am.
Here I am.
Here I am.
Here I am.
She also wants to know, this is Sarah_Elizabeth28 who asked the question.
What's with the underscoring? Why is everybody
People do it to bother me.
No, why do they do it?
So that no one will ever
like that
find
guy
them.
put it on the end?
Because you know
What was
why?
that, Maxwell's
you know why?
plum?
Because they want to upset me.
It's very upset. And look at Blanche. Look how upset she is.
Do you wish that you had picked a different name? She said, my mom wanted to name me Sydney, but I'm glad she picked Sarah.
Yeah, great. Great question.
Do you want to, was it going to be?
Of course we wanted to name you Eliza. If we didn't, we would have named you something
that's
else.
fair.
We would have named you Madeline. But we liked Eliza. It was a great name. And frankly, there were very few cool names that started with the letter I.
I don't think Eliza's one of them.
And by the way, to this day, when you Google Eliza, you don't have to Google ILIZA. You Google, or like if you type into your like Netflix in the search box, it's ILI. Boom, it comes right up.
If you Google Eliza, the first thing that comes up is Eliza feet because people are fucking weird. Angela Johnson, my buddy, says, in which ways is Eliza like you?
Clearly, what we share in common, going back to a question earlier, is our relentless work ethic. I term her work ethic and my work ethic to be relentless. And if you were to look at where that came from, it didn't come from me, as her sense of humor came through me, through my dad, who was an amazing businessman and who had an impeccable work ethic and who taught me so many things. Like one of his pearls of wisdom early on, he had two that I actually talk about, four of them in my workshop. But one of them is, if you're not early, you're late. See that?
But back to me.
Yeah, no, this is...
Back to me.
Back to you.
Go on.
So it's your work ethic and your sense of humor.
And the first nose.
Well, you want to talk about that?
Well, they know.
And the Chinsky hook?
My nose, before I got a nose job.
Before you were famous.
My dad was a little hurt that I got one, but I was
very hurt.
Well, it's
almost as hurt as when you wanted to drop Shlesinger, but I talked you out of it.
I don't think you did. I think people just kept saying Shlesinger.
Right, and maligning.
It's not a nose for a woman. And my dad was like, the nose is called, my dad's mother's maiden name is Chinsky.
It's the Chinsky hook, goddammit.
It's the Chinsky hook.
Yeah,
the whole family.
The Chinsky
Both
hook.
my brothers, my sister, my dad, my Nana, the Chinsky hook.
She's got the Chinsky hook.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
But calling it the Chinsky hook. This is the episode is called Chinsky Hook.
Oh, there it is. Emily, that's the name of the episode, the Chinsky hook.
She's like, I don't care. Next question.
Not interested. She probably has left the building. It's after 4 o'clock.
Kenzie, oh boy. Kenzie I, oh man, says, did you have a that's my daughter moment?
Yes. Yes.
Not when I came out of my mom.
Oy.
All right, go ahead.
I thought you meant sexually.
All right, but I've always been straight, so.
Well.
What are you doing? Now they're going to think that.
There was some questionable weeks.
There were never some questionable. I've never kissed
there
a
were some
girl.
weeks. That's not true.
That's 1,000% true.
Camp?
What are you Stop that. People are going to think this is real.
Okay. Not just kidding. And we can always edit that.
And it's
right,
okay
sir?
if you kiss girls, but I didn't, and I don't want this to be like a thing.
But you wanted to.
What are you doing?
Stop. Okay, what was the question?
No.
Where were we?
Did you ever have a that's my daughter moment?
Yes. So Iliza was in her junior year, possibly her senior year in high school, and she saw on the bulletin board that there was a improv troupe that had formed, and it turns out there were 10 guys and her. What's the...
That's not the story.
That's my story. Why can't I... What?
It's not this. That's not how it happened. I was on the improv troupe for my sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
I was the only girl.
Only got out of 10, there were 10 guys and you. I said that.
Okay.
Okay. So they were performing. So this, to my recollection, was like Eliza's very first performance, comedy performance, whether it was paid or unpaid, didn't matter. And it was improv. So all of the parents are in the audience, and you're supposed to throw out like random nouns. So somebody threw out a random noun. Iliza ran with it and got her first laugh. And it was like, oh my God. And it was as though somebody pumped comedy heroin through her veins, and she has never turned back.
Never turn back. Lucy.
Chinsky hook, Chinsky hook,
Lucy _N_Ethel. Sounds like a chemical
What's with all
compound.
these underscores?
Was there ever a time when you were genuinely worried about Eliza's life path? Or was it more like, whatever she does, it's going to be amazing? I don't think it was either of those.
Right. Nor was I ever worried about you. I always had tremendous confidence that whatever you did choose to pursue, you would be successful at, you would be wonderful at, and I was supportive, would have been supportive in any field of endeavor that you chose.
As long as I worked hard.
As long as you worked hard and you didn't ask me for money.
Angie.Mena. Hi, Fred. When Iliza started making her way in comedy, did you have any concerns with it being such a male-dominated profession? What did you tell her to do? What did you tell her not to do? You know, I just want to, before we answer this wasn't like, for my childhood, it wasn't like, I'm leaving home, goodbye, Dad. Like I'm Daddy's bindle spiff. You know what? Even when I started, I never thought about the guys club because I was only around men, and those were who I was beating. And it's only later in life that I'm like, oh yeah, these guys are fuckheads. But it was never like, Daddy, these boys were mean to me.
Right.
My whole life, I've always kind of stood up to them.
And to your point, it almost didn't matter to you that it was a male-dominated industry because you had something to say, and you and I always say funny is funny, whether it comes out of the mouth of a man or a woman, doesn't really matter.
It's on our family crest.
On our family crest, on a bed of lox and cream cheese. And you have proven all these naysayers to be wrong, that comedy is what's funny is funny, and you have developed this amazing style, technique, and it is endured for the better part of the last 12 years, and you've never bothered to get hung up on male, female. It's never really been an issue.
Yeah.
Bad question. Next question.
Well, a lot of them are like this.
Yeah. Well,
and a lot of them are like dad-daughter questions. But here's the thing. A lot of them are any crazy stories from Iliza growing up. I was a good kid. I also didn't live with my dad from age 7 to forever. So we don't have any of those. Like, I came in late after curfew.
Although, do you want to talk about Shecky Green?
Okay, that's not really...
Well,
no one knows who Shecky Green is listening.
Plenty of people know.
Tell them the story.
Google Shecky Green.
No, it's not that interesting.
Okay.
Because it's not. We don't really. You know what? Sad or not sad, we don't really have any. I think one time one of the softball players on my team, her dad called you racist, and that was horrible for me because you aren't racist.
And he was a Jew. That was ridiculous.
But I don't.
I'm not a racist.
No.
I hate everybody.
Equally.
I've noticed that, at least since I've had my babies, that I smell differently when I sweat. Maybe I'm just like getting older. I don't know, but I smell differently. And I don't love that. If I'm on set or if I'm on stage or if I'm doing anything like functioning in public and I don't want sweat stains or to be aware of my stinky, stinky pits, that's when I turn to Lumi Whole Body Deodorant because it keeps me smelling fresh all day. Lumi is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, under boobs, right wingers, thigh folds, belly buttons, butt cracks, your feet. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. How? Well, unlike certain traditional deodorants that may try to mask odor with a fragrance, Lumi is formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack. That equals over 40% off the starter pack. Use code ELIZA for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code ELIZA at LumiDeodorant.com.
A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
Digger Snyder says, Iliza, a lot of your work, you discuss major cornerstones in life, relationships, growing up, being a woman, your observations of men are frequently questionable behavior. Fred, what is something Iliza has said or done that has left a lasting impression on you, taught you something you didn't know, or gave you a perspective you didn't have? Iliza, thanks for having Fred on the pod. His brief appearance on your Instagram kills me every time I watch it. Fred, thank you for Iliza. She's rather awesome.
That's very sweet. Is that underscored as well?
There's no underscore in this one.
Thank God there's no underscore. Thank God for that you saved the ink. Save the whales, save the ink. I marvel at the fresh contemporary content that Iliza keeps coming up with. She's got this enormous gas tank of talent, of comedy talent, and she's done 4 very successful Netflix specials. She's about to do her 5th one that she's going to tape the end of May in Nashville. It's already sold out both shows. And what I marvel at is that it just keeps coming, and it's natural, and it's organic, and she is real. People find her funny, and people like her because she's real. She's not phony. She's not fake. And her observations are spot on. And the way she presents them, obviously in a comedic way, are brilliant.
Oh, thanks, Dad. Catherine_Beverly.
This was a paid political.
I know, right? I'll Venmo you. Catherine_Beverly says, which of Eliza's characters is your favorite and why? She-Dragon, Party Goblin, Pharmacist, whatever.
Well,
I'm interested to know this.
I'm going to go early on. Early on in your first few years of doing stand-up, this is before your first Netflix special, you develop that whole sheep sound.
Go do it.
The sheep sound. And I was in the audience, and I think it was one of the first times you did it. Maybe not, but it was the first time I heard it. And the routine is all of these single women are following each other to a bar, and
it's my whole act, all my act.
No,
it
was your. It's
it
not
is still.
No, it
Yeah.
still is. And the whole concept was all of these single women who are desperately trying to find a man are all sheep. They're all following each other, and when she did it the first time, people, it was like they were blindsided, and the response from the audience, I was in the audience, was unbelievable. And then she just kept doing it, and it became, a moniker. I think you were doing it during the time when you were doing a bit with the pizza, the flatbread. It was the flatbread routine. So that was like you were on Fallon when you did the flatbread, but that was like right in the height of the and you still do it. It's a great voice.
It's a great voice.
And you should never stop doing it. Like you should do a best of.
It's just different sheep bleating. Best of sheep bleats.
No, it's the best of sheep following each other.
It's the best of sheep following each other. We have some diehard fans that wrote in. Kirk Soy Toya, KWS79 says, hello, New York Fred, for you. Great to hear you on the podcast. Been a longtime fan and follower of Eliza's work in comedy. After reading the end of Girl Logic, when you made the huge jump from the career of clothing apparel to the financial planning field, looking back on it, how much do you feel that you've accomplished since you made the career change? Has it helped forge an even better relationship now with Iliza as both your careers have flourished?
Great question. Is there an underscore in that one?
No.
Good. See, all of the great questions don't have an underscore. Those of you that are future questionnaires, try to keep that in mind. So for those of you who don't know, which most of you don't, I had a very successful career for 27 years in the real high end of the men's clothing business, had my own collection. My background is textile design, got that from my father as well. And in 1999, the industry came to a screeching halt with a memo that went out from IBM saying that if we allow our male executives not to have a tightly bound piece of silk around their neck, we feel they're going to be more productive, more profitable, and more effective and efficient. So we're going to call that Casual Friday. And it decimated the industry. And so within 4 years, the industry was a shell of what it was, and my company was out of business. And at 47 years old, I was facing reinventing myself. And in 2004, I reinvented myself, got licensed, and became a financial advisor. So I can't tell you who was
Kirk.
Kirk. I can't tell you the joy, satisfaction that I've had over the last 15 years being a financial advisor, because I truly go to bed every night knowing that I am helping people, I'm helping their financial future, and I feel I've become a better person by being a financial advisor versus being a menswear clothing resource. And I feel I've also been a better parent and more of a steward of our money. And it has been life-changing for me becoming a financial advisor over the last 15 years. And I absolutely bolt out of bed every day, and I love what I do.
But I think the biggest, and I talked about this in Girl Logic, like you said, but just as a kid, and again, my dad and I didn't spend like a ton of time together, but seeing your parents, watching, I remember you had your own company. I remember when that went under. And I think that's kind of like losing a child in a way. You put so much love. And I remember the warehouse, and I remember I would go with you to cut samples, and I remember like all of that. And, I think a lot of people, when faced with, I've lost my job, what do I do? Or how do I get to that next level or reinvent myself? And to actually see a parent, a father of 4 with a house and all the American dream stuff, and you're at this crossroads where it's like, what do I do? And the option of failing isn't one. And it was really cool to see that.
And for those of you that are at that crossroads or about to become challenged by what to do with the rest of your life, what I did is I developed this quadrant, and it was called the self-inventory quadrant. I developed it on my own, and today in my workshops, I do a branding workshop, I use that, and in each quadrant is assets, liabilities, talents, and skills. And I would like for those of you that are at that crossroads to fill in the blanks of what your assets and liabilities are, what your talents are versus skills. And in my workshop, we really roll up our sleeves and get into it. And I did the same thing with my wife. I had her fill out her version of what she thought my 4 properties were. And through that, I was able to emerge and find my path by being a financial advisor.
So there's that. But I think also, because we get a lot of questions about job, should I leave my job, and following your passion and things like that. I'm not a life coach or anything, but you owe it to yourself to be happy and to find that thing. Just because something ends and I get a lot of doors slammed in my face doesn't mean you can't find your purpose. It doesn't mean that at all.
Rejection builds character.
Shifting questions.
Shifting sands.
I want to ask, I think food is where people...
What about tennis? We didn't get any tennis.
There's a reason.
Why?
Fine. Recommend a tennis racket for a beginner tennis player. Quickly. Out of the box.
It's going to be difficult. It's very difficult.
They only have 4 fingers.
Babolat makes great tennis rackets at all different skill levels. Babolat. They're an old French company. Wilson, who's been a main stalwart for more than 50 years. They make great tennis rackets at all different levels. And you can't go wrong. Make sure if you're a beginner, you buy a tennis racket with a wide beam, and make sure that the balance of the racket is conducive to your swing.
So there's your tennis advice.
Sorry.
But these are not tennis players.
Sorry. How do you know? You don't know that.
I do actually know my audience very well.
Okay, maybe they are.
I also didn't want to sit around for the answers.
But that's going to be my top of the cob, so be prepared.
Okay. Hail without the berry. Hi, Les and Fred. Fred, what's your ultimate food fantasy, if you have one? Or if you don't have a food fantasy, what's the weirdest meal restaurant experience you've had?
Okay, I'm just going to answer the first part.
Yeah.
My food fantasy is to have my own restaurant.
Okay, the steak one, the United States of America.
No, I want to do like a really, really, we use the word bougie, like a real cozy, wonderful, high-end grill. I want it to be called, Fred's Grill. I want to offer great quality food.
No, I got a better one. You change your name to Mark, and it's called Grill Marks.
Grill Marks, there you go.
There you go. Or it's a socialist dictator grill. Grill
Right.
Marks.
Grill Marks. Grill Marks.
Yeah.
Grill with an X.
What would your last meal be?
Wow.
But, see, to me, that's hard to answer because I'd be so consumed with the fact that I was about to die.
Right.
I wouldn't
then
be hungry.
I would lose my appetite.
Yeah, who could eat?
Like, give me some crackers and a bowl of soup. I'll be good.
Ultimate meal. Forget dying.
I got a thing for Chilean sea bass.
Okay.
I love Chilean sea bass.
Isn't it a made-up fish? Isn't it not really from Chile?
Well, but it's sea bass.
Okay, so sea bass.
Maybe it's a Chilean-style sea bass.
Okay. Of the ilk
Versus
of
a
Chile.
Mediterranean sea bass.
Yeah. Chilean sea bass.
Love Chilean sea bass. I think it's the filet mignon of the sea.
What's the worst thing to see on a menu?
Flies.
What's an overrated dish?
That dead rat.
That
which
dead
by
rat.
the way was on the menu. It fell belly up on the menu. So ask the question again. What's the worst thing
What's
to see
the
on the
worst
menu?
thing?
A dead rat. Is staring at you.
Was that the last episode we talked about?
Oh, that
or
was the
this
last
one?
episode. No, it was the last one.
Oh, my dad's
Last
telling the story of the time he ate
Right.
out at a restaurant and a
Horrible.
rat fell on his plate.
Gently cascaded from the rafters.
It was elegant.
No, nothing was elegant about a dead, smelly rat. But moving on along.
Well, I thought we'd have more food questions,
Yeah.
but you seem to move through them. You don't seem to. This is a restaurant-related question. Aubrey.Elizabeth24. Hey, Iliza, big fan of your work. Just wondering, Dad, hold on. Dad, do you know the phrase big dick energy?
No, sorry.
It's the idea that, a guy is, calm and cool and confident because he's got this big dick, but he's not,
Okay.
loud.
Okay.
All right. If you have any big dick energy ways of telling people to fuck off when you're with your dad and people think that the two of you are an item. I'm almost 30. My
What?
stepdad just
Wait,
turned
what?
60. I'm telling you the
That
story.
we're an item?
I'm almost 30 and my stepdad just turned 60. My family went out to dinner and I was holding his hand because I was in heels and the hostess gave us a dirty look.
You know what? That whole scenario, is that underscored too?
No, it's
Good.
a dot.
It's a dot.
Aubrey dot.
That's just fucking bizarre and retarded. Stop.
Should I shoulder through or say something when people give us a look?
No,
Who
it's
cares?
stupid.
Right? It's stupid.
It's terrible. First of all, the dynamics are different because you're my natural daughter. I'm not your stepdad.
But it doesn't matter. The
Well,
point is
it
it's
does,
a father
because it's a
figure
father figure.
that you're not having sex with.
Right. Oh, stop.
I know, it's weird to even say it.
Let's move on. Oy.
What?
I'm getting palpitations.
ASL_swim 92. What
Again,
type of vacation would you like to take with Iliza and why?
You know, we talked
be
about
so
going
hard.
away together.
You want to go to Australia.
No, but where did you want to go? Where'd you say you wanted to go with
To
me?
the bathroom.
To the men's room.
I like to travel, so I'll go anywhere.
I love traveling. I've traveled for years.
no,
my whole
because
life.
you wouldn't want to go to. You don't like Indian food.
Oh,
You don't like Thai food.
it's not that I don't like it. It doesn't like me.
That's fair.
It goes through me like so. But it's not about food. It's about where you travel to and you've been to Australia. That's the problem. You've been to these places, so there's nothing new.
I would love to go to Russia.
Let's go.
Jawohl.
Borscht. Yes, not Jawohl. That's German.
Oh, is it?
Borscht. They have
Borscht.
Wodka. Say it. Wodka. Wodka and borscht and crackers.
I think it's time for Top of the Cob.
Yep.
It's the top with a cob. We're doing it right every day. You just take a bite. Top of the cob.
We're gonna let you go first
Oh, okay.
with your Top of the Cob.
My top of the cob, and I referenced it a bit earlier, is the lifestyle of tennis. I cannot explain to you all how incredibly valuable tennis has become in my life. It's become more than a sport, more than a hobby. I play it often. I play it recreationally, and more importantly, I play it on a competitive level.
3 to 4 times a week.
3 to 4 times a week with my Babolat Pure Strike racket and my RPM Blast strings. And the dividends that I've reaped from tennis, from a physical aspect, psychological, emotional, social aspect, I've made so many friends. I've done so much business through playing with my friends at the club. It is a sport for life, and I urge you all to consider taking up tennis at any age. And we have guys at our club that are playing into their 70s, into their 80s, and they're playing competitively. And there was a recent article in Tennis Magazine that talked about
No. What?
that one that plays a lot of tennis, a significant amount of tennis, stands to live an extra 3 to 5 years.
Compared to like someone who swims?
Compared to that fat guy with the waist
With the belt
band,
problem from the other episode.
Correct.
All right. Well, my Top of the Cob. My dad loves tennis. It is a passion that has been passed on to none of his 4 children. but we do have to hear about it. So by virtue of listening, I've become an expert in tennis. But it is not my passion. And I
Okay.
will play with you.
But that's not your top of the cob. You have your own top
My
of the
top
cob.
of the cob.
What's
I
your
cut
top
out
of the cob?
processed sugar and wheat for the last 2 weeks. I was getting a little puffy, and I've seen immediate results. And just for all the dieting and things and exercise, diet is like over 80% of your battle. And everybody, like, if I eat this, what if I don't eat this? Cut out. And you used to say this when you went on a diet. You said, I cut out everything white.
Except for my wife.
There you go.
Ooh,
I
good.
cut out flour. I cut out wheat, which I know is brown.
Pasta.
Sugar.
Rice.
All those things.
Rice.
You know, I have a potato once in a while. But just by cutting out sugar, I'll have a piece of fruit, but that's about it. I feel so much better.
Like instead of eating the black and white cookies at Cantor's, you'll just eat the black part.
Right. I don't want to discriminate. But it's true. And it worked really, and that's a huge part of it. And cutting out wheat, you're not puffy. It's so simple, but I really was feeling shitty. And I did this immediate change, and I feel so much better. And now I take off my shirt when I work out, and I check out that body. Bottom of the cob.
How many times have you heard the following? The following call may be monitored for quality assurance purposes. I am sick and fucking tired of listening to that because no company plays that back. No company gives a shit about the quality of the phone calls. That and the other cob, the other coblet of the bottom.
Small cob.
So a small little cablito is these surveys you get. You go to a restaurant or you buy something on the internet. I'm sick and tired of getting those survey monkeys. How did you like the quality? How did you like these? Did you like the way we treated you? I'm not interested. I'm not interested in doing your fucking job. I bought it. I paid
It's
you.
enough.
You made the money. Leave me the fuck alone.
If I come back, that's how you'll know I like it.
Correct. If I reorder.
Yeah. So there you
that's
go.
my bottom of the bottom.
They both have to do with service inquiries.
Yeah, and it has to do with corporate America, and it has to do with the service and the low level of service and quality and how this country has just gotten watered down with pathetic, mediocre service, and that today is the expected norm. So we've gone from an A country to a C minus, but it's passing and it's okay, and I'm tired of it.
Why didn't we get into this earlier?
You should have called.
My bottom of the cup on the topic of capitalism and entrepreneurship, I get anxiety when they hand out samples on Shark Tank because I think this is a startup company. You don't have the money to hand out samples. Or if the sample is something that's expensive, like we have these lights, they're $500 each and they help in disaster relief, we'll pass out samples. What happens to the samples? Or you're like Mama's Shrimp Company and you're making 40 grand a year and they're handing out samples. And the samples stress me out because I think it's wasteful.
So do you think Shark Tank is legitimate or it's all...
I think Shark Tank's amazing. I love it when I can
do too.
spot Shark Tank products out there. I think just the exposure. But when we have some samples. I'm like, you don't make enough to hand out the samples. And they're not eating all. It's just a waste. It just stresses me out. It's a weird thing. And nobody cares.
And to your brilliance, you did a wonderful mock bit
thanks.
on Shark Tank.
Oh, thanks,
With the
Dad.
two sisters back to back. And
It's true. It's always
what
like.
was the product?
It was cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
But it was less about the cupcake and more just.
and I'm
it's this, Hi, sharks. And you're just like, I don't care. I'm not doing the bit.
Why not? It's so funny.
I'm Mandy. And
This is your show.
My sister, Tamby.
No, Mandy and Brandy.
And together we are Mandy. Yeah. And we're asking $9,000 in exchange for 1% of our company, Terabyte.
Right.
It's cupcakes for pterodactyls stored in large computers.
Right.
I don't know. That's the worst.
Can we have a sample?
Can we get a sample? Stresses me out. Dad, thanks for coming in. He flew in for the pod.
This was so great, and this is unforgettable. I love being with you and spending the weekend with you and doing this pod, and I hope your fans enjoyed our time together and our chemistry.
Give us a closing line.
If you're not early, you're late.
Need turkey tips? Our Butterball Turkey Talk line is open. We'll help with what's on the table so you can focus on those around it. Call 1-800-BUTTERBALL or text 844-877-3456. Butterball. Today, we turkey.